It's movie night, baby. Here we go, lads. Top picks this Friday. As always, if we're not on Formula One, we'll always give you 3 movies of the week. And if we're on Formula One, we're going to give you a Formula One preview plus movie of the week. But today, we've got 3 beauties, lads. 3 comedies that you need to see. I don't care whether you're a man or woman. It has to be done. Okay, first one, Jerry Maguire. Now, guys, if you've never seen it, you're not just watching a sports movie or a rom-com or a 90s time capsule here. You're watching a field manual on courage, and a lot of people can relate to this. How to burn your whole life to the ground at 2 a.m., write a mission statement that terrifies you, and then try and live up to the whole thing. And, this film's for everyone who said, I can do better than this, It's very, very true. It's not based on a true story, but it is based on a lot of stuff that a lot of us go through. And, then they had to prove, when anybody that has to prove that to a world that didn't believe them yet, if that's you, welcome. And if that should be you, pull up a chair. Peter. Wow. Now, personally, lads, I think this is Tom Cruise's funniest performance of all time. Some will argue Tropic Thunder. Very hard to argue with that. Extremely hard. But to me, I think this is. And he's just so smug. He's such a corporate sales guy, like an agent, and it's brilliant. And he's a killer agent with a killer conscience. And he's the guy who can smile through a handshake and harvest 7 signatures before lunch. And but success without a spine finally eats you alive. He cracks hard. He writes a late night manifesto about fewer clients, deeper care, more love, more real relationships, and then gets fired for it. And evaporated, vaporized. And one day you're king of the office, and the next day your key card says, try again, champ. And that's exactly what happens to him here. Now, he's broke, alone, and the entire industry is pointing and laughing at him at this stage. And what does integrity cost? In Jerry's case, 90% of his clients, 95% of his clients, and 100% of his confidence, and a full crash course in humility. His only remaining asset is Dorothy, single mom, bookkeeper, romantic, true believer, who hears his speech and says, I'm coming with you. That line, that act, that's the film's quiet detonator. 2 people, one wobbly company, one volatile NFL wideout named Rod, Cuba Gooding Jr. He's classic in this. He won the Oscar. And a mountain labelled Prove It. Now, here's where the movie gets better, lads. The truth under the hood. Cameron Crowe, the writer and director, brilliant. Didn't dash the script off on a weekend bender. The guy spent 3.5 years doing this script. 3.5 years? The amount of effort, the amount of detail, the attention that has to go into a script like this, it's insane. And sanding it down until it just sharp as a blade, man, a ninja's blade. It's just so good. And the roles were originally for, believe it or not, Winona Ryder instead of Renée Zellweger, and Tom Hanks instead of Tom Cruise. Imagine Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, I think, would have been brilliant too, but it's hard to see anyone than Tom Cruise in this movie. And, when the screen test with them happened, the chemistry shifted with them. And with Cruise, the movie stopped being a cute ambition and started being a full throttle desperation. He wanted this so bad. And also with this, Cruise's 5th straight film to cross 100 million domestically. That in the 90s, guys, was enormous money. And Guy wasn't acting like a movie star. The guy was the economy. And Renée Zellweger, she auditioned 3 times apparently with Cruise, and then got a personal call from Crowe while she was at Sundance and said, do you want the job? I mean, what a way to kick off Sundance, huh? She later admitted that the day she was cast, she didn't have enough in her bank account to make an ATM withdrawal. Whew, man. And that's not an origin story, that's rocket fuel. And Regina King, the indomitable Marcy, who plays Cuba Gooding Jr. Rod's wife in it, was actually pregnant during filming. So, all looks real, man. And which is why her fire reads so grounded. She's playing for keeps, right? And little rat boy, Ray Boyd, the pint-sized truth machine, like Jonathan Leblinski walking on set announcing the human head weighs 8 pounds. I mean, this guy's the cutest little fella the world's ever seen. And Crowe loved it so much he wrote it into the script. That's so cool, man. And you know, you can't invent that kind of charm. You just can't. And it walks in wearing tiny glasses and it steals the movie. And even the texture, like, sings the living room scene when Jerry first talks with Ray, completely ad-lib to create an authentic bond. Paula Abdul choreographed Cuba Gooding Jr.'s iconic touchdown dance, believe it or not. That was really cool, man. You know, he's a fit guy. And Show Me the Money, You Had Me at Hello, landed into the AFI Top 100 movie quotes. Just iconic movie. Jerry leaves the agency SMI, right? And in a blaze of, like, idealism and printers, you know, he thinks the clients will follow the man, not the logo. And the clients disagree. Watching those phone calls is kind of agony watching it for him. You know, he's the man. And now, nothing. Jerry, you're wonderful. We love you, but then gone. Down to one client, Rod Tidwell from the Arizona Cardinals. And shorter than scouts, like louder than PR refers, and criminally underpaid. Rod's not here for Jerry's poetry. He wants security, like we all do. He wants respect. He wants the money, and he wants to sing, dance, and testify. You know, meanwhile, Dorothy jumps. She quits a steady job to just man who's lost his parachute. This isn't love at first sight. It's faith at first risk, lads. And Jerry's new office is Dorothy's dining room. Their conference table is a kitchen table. You know, their CEO is a goldfish, and the world keeps testing them. Jerry's old firm undercuts him. And Rod's number doesn't scream top tier. You know, Dorothy's mortgage glares. Even Jerry's love life stumbles into a proposal here, more of an exhaustion. But he wants to be the man he wrote about. You know, Dorothy wants a prayer who sees her. Rod wants the contract that admits his worth. You know, 3 different prayers, 1 tiny company, and an NFL calendar that does not care about your character arc. But you can really see the emotionality of what they're trying to get to, the real deep want and need from these characters. Then in the living room, honesty shows up, and it's so cool, man. Jerry's marriage, like, to Dorothy, wobbles because sincerity without presence is just a kind of a performance in a nice suit, and that's what happens here. And he can pitch anyone except the woman he needs his attention more than his speeches. And the airport walkaway conversation, that is the sound of 2 adults trying not to become their mistakes. And in the locker room, on and off the field, Rod faces the moment all athletes dread. Is the league blind? Or is he blind? And he's been labelled difficult, flashy, not a franchise guy. He's got attitude. You know, that's code for we don't know what to do with a man who demands his value out loud. You know, so he does the only thing left. He plays with such joy and violence that the league can't look away. You know, the catch, the hit, the silence, the fear, and the long breath. Then the dance, the stadium in full gospel, you know, the celebrations. It's not just a TD, it's a thesis defense. And somewhere in that noise, a front office finally hears what Rod's been shouting about for years. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. And Jerry, he finally wins the account that matters most. His soul. I know that sounds cringy, but he sprints through a tunnel, not towards a deal, but towards a person, you know, and he goes home. He tells Dorothy, I'm starting to go. He tells Dorothy the only speech that counts, you know. He has a moment of unbelievable news, brilliant news in his career. And after all that, he has 5 seconds of pleasure, and you can see his mind drifts to his wife. You know, I mean, it's... The end, Rod gets the contract. Respect with decimal points. And Jerry gets his company back, 1 client at a time, the right way this time. And Dorothy gets a partner who actually shows up, you know, and the kid. Ray gets a father who can throw a spiral and catch a heart, you know. And the mission statement that got Jerry fired becomes the compass that keeps him free, you know. Roll the credits, but don't miss the lesson. Jerry Maguire isn't about selling less. It's about caring more. It says, burn the script if the script is writing you. If you're in the room If the room you're in demands a smaller soul, build a new room. It's about a movie, about business that turns out to be a love story, about a movie about romance that turns out to be a work story, a movie about sports that turns out to be the human story. You know, that's why this just doesn't age, this movie. It's going to be a timeless classic. Hell, it is a timeless classic. You know, and you know. Zellweger, she got the life-changing call while she couldn't afford an ATM withdrawal, then delivers a performance that changed her whole life. And Paula Abdul put the gospel in Tidwell's dance. Very cool. Regina King, pregnant and fearless. You know, Crow's 3.5-year script marathon. You can feel every mile. And Cruise, in the middle of a 5-film, $100 million heater, chooses vulnerability over invincibility, you know? That's star with power with taste, man. You know, and why everybody should watch this movie. Because maybe at some time you will become Jerry Maguire. Maybe you have been Jerry Maguire. Maybe you are Jerry Maguire right now. You know, maybe you'll be Dorothy, like betting on someone who's trying to become the person they promised to be. You'll be Rod Tidwell, perhaps, you know, shouting for what you've earned. And, you know, you will be maybe Ray, the kid, the tiny truth in the room, reminding that adults that love without play, it's just paperwork. So, guys, we're going to leave it there. Jerry Maguire, 100% a top pick. If you've seen it before, get it out again. Because, for me, Cruise's funniest performance and heartbreaking at the end. And beautifully heartbreaking. Jerry Maguire.
Peter. Wow.